So, we're going to Panama right now. The good thing about Panama is that there's a lot of remote places for you to go, well, fishing and spearfishing. Actually, a fun fact of Panama is that the name Panama in the native language translates to an abundance of butterflies and fish. So, um, it might be one of the greatest spearfishing destinations in the world, especially for big groupers and big careers. So yeah, we're going to a pretty remote place where we are taking a boat, a conga actually, for 4 hours, just cruising near big mountains and big jungles. Hopefully we're gonna have a pretty flat calm sea to get there so that all the luggage doesn't get with salt water. But yeah, the plan is to go to this place in Pampanga and spearfish until we get there. So yeah, and then we're going to be spearfishing for 4 days, and then we will come back. Maybe spearfishing again, or maybe just going straight to the car because we're gonna leave the car apparently on a police station. So yeah, and well, hopefully the sport tube makes it because I didn't see it. Hopefully. Luckily, the sport tube's gonna be right there. Hopefully. So we got here at around 4:13. It's currently 8 p.m. and the sport tube didn't come on the flight that is supposed to come. So it just got here, the new flight. Luckily, it came on the next available flight. So yeah, my dad went pick it up, and we got the sport tube. Thank God, because we're leaving tomorrow early, and imagine dealing with all the spear guns and the wetsuits and the fins. It would have been a nightmare, but it got here thankfully. We're waiting on my dad with the sport tube, and then we're going to Iñaki's place, which is up in the mountains. So yeah, it's a little bit off-road, but we're going to sleep right there, and then tomorrow morning we're going to head out. Here's the truck already loaded up. Viva Ucrania libre, Iñaki, unas palabras.
Iba.
Here's the truck, look at it. It's all loaded up. We got the spear guns, well, Iñaki's spear guns. Here's the cooler. And yeah, we're going to Iñaki's place.
Búsquelo, sí.
Good morning. So, first morning here in Panama. Slept very well last night. We're here in Iñaki's place. Here's the cabin. And yeah, it's currently 6:30. So we're gonna have breakfast. They're preparing the breakfast in the main cabin, and then we'll head out we'll hit the road. It's probably like 4.5 hours. So yeah, this place, it's amazing. Just look at it. There's like a little deck where you can sit, relax, and hear the birds sing. Then you come here, and there's the cabin. There's the luggage from yesterday. Here's a 2-bed. That's mine. That's Dad's. And yeah, so pretty sick place, not gonna lie. And then take a look at the view from the bathroom. It's pretty amazing. Unbelievable. So going down right now to have breakfast. Going to the main cabin. Breakfast ready. It's a little bit windy, but we're so far away from the fishing spot that there's no worries. Actually, the wind oh, just slipped. Actually, the wind's gonna be perfect this weekend. Yeah, we just got here to where the Panga is gonna pick us up, and yeah, it was a long trip to get here. It was like 3.5 hours since we slept at Iñaki's place. So yeah, that was a little bit closer, but from Panama City, from the actual city, it's like, I don't know, like 5 hours approximately. So yeah, check it out. It's like a big river. There's a Panga. So yeah, pretty sick place. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome underwater. So right now loading my small gun. It's a custom made carbon fiber roller with MVD components such as reel, muzzle, and handle. So first dive of the trip here, and as you can see, the water is pretty murked up and I'm not kicking, so you can tell that the current is absolutely ripping. Our guide told us that this spot was pretty good for finding Cubera snapper and Goliath grouper, as well as rooster fish. Actually, in the next clip, you're gonna see something pretty amazing. So skipped a few dives between this clip and the previous one, just because nothing was showing up, really. My dad actually shot a Corvina in this spot, but there wasn't much around. So here again, the water is pretty green, not seeing much, and right here, just as I turn my head to the right, you can see a school of juvenile lizardfish coming in. So I thought this was pretty cool. Not the target species I was looking for, and they were pretty small, so not really worth shooting them. Conditions weren't really ideal this day. We had pretty murky water, lots of current, and not really any fish around. Here I got lucky and could hide myself from the current and from any possible predatory fish. Made a few grunts here and banged my gun against the rock to make some crackling noise, but nothing really showed up, and decided to go to the surface and continue looking. So we just got from the trip to the house, well, to the town. It was alright. The wind was pretty calm. We jumped in a few spots and got a nice cubera. It's like a 25-30 pound cubera, not the biggest but decent size. And then my dad got a white sea bass, and now we're going to fry fish. Well, I think someone's frying it right now. Unfortunately, my GoPro wasn't charged, but I'll make sure tomorrow's charged. We're going to a deep dip pinnacle that's supposed to have a big almacos, big snappers, maybe a broomtail grouper, and then we'll try our luck on some white sea bass spot. It's not a white sea bass, but it's pretty darn close. So yeah. Good morning. It's first day. Technically, the first one was yesterday, but we didn't get much since we were running late. But we got dinner. I got two nice cuberas and an African pompano yesterday. My camera died, of course, but today I'm going with a full battery, brand new battery, so should be good. So yeah, we'll suit up and then head out. We have like 1.5 hour ride to the first spot, and then we will come back diving. So yeah, stoked. We'll see you there. See you in the water. Alright guys, first spot of the day, first drop here, a pretty big rock that's fully submerged, so usually holds a lot of big fish and a lot of bait. Here, as you can see, a school of yellow snapper comes in. Here's the big one right there, trying to get the skunk out of the boat, giving me an easy shot here and try to stone it. Yep, I missed. It's not the ideal situation to happen when you miss a fish on the first drop of the first spot of the first day of the trip. But yeah, I mean, you gotta keep going and keep making dives to see if you get any redemption. Here you can see a lot of bait and a white-tipped shark sleeping in the sand. Never had an issue with them before in the past. I think they're pretty chill. Actually, I believe they're nocturnal, since during the day they're for the most part sleeping. So yeah, lots of bait, lots of grunts, and in the distance, when I turn my head to the left, you'll see a blue jack, or an omilu as they call them in Hawaii. But yeah, not any shootable fish around in this spot, so decided to move on. Next spot here, and I'm using now my big gun. It's an MVD 110 inverted roller. Pretty similar spot here, lots of bait, but again, not a big fish around. Here you can see a small cubera, not pursuing it, not really what I'm looking for. Lots of bait again, but not any big fish around. Now we're diving in the dip pinnacle that I was talking about earlier in the video. This is my dad's GoPro, so he makes a dip drop here, grunting, and you can see all the bait, all the surgeonfish, grunts, rainbow runners, and below them usually you'll find the snappers and the almaco jacks mixed in. Right here you can see a ball of red snapper. He's scanning to see if he'll find a almaco jack, but no almaco jack was found in this dive. Put a nice shot into it. The snapper goes to the bottom, try to rock top, but luckily for him, doesn't make it all the way to the bottom. And by that, secure a nice snap. Next dive here from the surface, I spot a school of barracuda, and they were in the shallower part of the pinnacle at around 18 meters, so decided to make a drop all the way to the bottom and see what showed up. This type of barracuda is not really good to eat. The meat is really mushy, so I didn't pursue them. And right here As I turn my head to the left, you'll see 3 Almaco jacks coming in, and right about here they give me a really easy stone shot, but I didn't want to risk it and have 2 big fish in one shot, so I waited and put a nice shot into a bigger one. Hit her really bad, and he put a really strong fight, so I took my time to bring that fish up and secure a nice Almaco, the first one of the trip actually. This is the next dive. This is my dad using that air gun. He makes a drop up current and he finds a ball of snapper mixed in with Almaco jacks. So this comes in and put a nice stone shot into it to secure the second one of the trip. This is the ideal scenario you want to have, so because of 2 things. 1, the fish doesn't suffer as much, and 2, you don't have to fight the fish all the way up. So at this point we had 2 Almacos in the boat and a red snapper. And after a couple of dives in the shallower part of the rock and not seeing much, I decided to make my next drop in the upcurrent side of the pinnacle. It's usually where the bait will be, and the bait will attract the medium fish, and the medium fish will attract the bigger fish. So below all these bait, you could see the school of barracuda swirling around, and below them I could see the school of red snapper right here. I was about to aim at one of them, and this big Almaco showed up. After a couple of minutes of fighting the fish, he eventually gave up, and I was able to bring that fish to the surface and secure my second Almaco of the trip. Next dive here, this is my dad's GoPro. He dives down in the upcurrent side of the pinnacle. Pretty identical scenario here. You can see the snappers, and this Almaco comes in. He puts a nice shot into it, and the fish goes straight to the bottom. Unfortunately, this fish rocks up in the deeper part of the pinnacle at around 40 meters, and we weren't able to retrieve that fish or the shaft. So we're here at the deep pinnacle. Made 2 dives, and I got lucky. I was about to pull the trigger on a nice Colorado snapper, and I got lucky. These 2 reef donkeys came in to check me out. Like 60 pounders each, 40, 50, maybe the big one, 60-pound fish. But yeah, pretty stoked. You guys will probably see the video soon. If not, you guys already seen it. But yeah, stoked. Next spot here, and right as we jump in, a wahoo came to check us out. I made a dive here. I was using my smaller gun. He was pretty far away still, but just made a drop to see if he would come in closer.
decided not to take a Hail Mary and asked for the throw flasher to see if he would come in. Threw my throw flasher here and made a dive to retrieve it, and right as I turn my head to the left, I see this wahoo coming in, and behind them I could see two more. So I went to this one that was a little bit closer and took a shot. Fortunately, it didn't stick and the wahoo rips off. Made another dive to retrieve my throw flasher again, and I was looking up to the surface to see if I could spot another wahoo. And right here, I spotted two yellowfin tunas cruising in the surface. Unfortunately, they didn't come close enough for me to take a shot, and they kept swimming away from me, so went to the surface and threw my throw flasher again to see this happen. So that wahoo came in hot to check the throw flasher. I made a dive and put a really nice holding shot on it. And right as I was going to the surface, the wahoo rips off. So what actually happened was that the shooting line broke at the loop where the line passes through the eye of the shark fin. So I lost the shaft and the fish. So we weren't seeing a lot of fish, honestly, in those spots as we hoped for, so we decided to make a move to a different area. And after losing those two wahoos, they were keeping their distance and not coming in the throw flashers or in the sardines. I decided to make a drop here on this yellow snapper, but when I got closer, I decided not to pursue it since it was not the fish I was looking for. And this was mainly what I was doing all trip. I was making dives on nice snappers and not shooting them just to see if I could get that trophy fish in the boat. But it was at the end of the day where I got my opportunity on that trophy fish. So the water was really hot. It was at around 29 to 30 degrees Celsius, and the fish were hanging really deep at around 25 to 26 meters. So we were diving deep all trip long, and in the shallows we were not seeing any movement of big fish or that trophy fish that we were looking for. My dad got lucky in the next clip with a nice Omako jack that was swimming really shallow. I don't know why, but I guess he was hunting the bait fish. But here I came to the bottom, and at the distance I could see a school of yellow snapper. Again, not the target that I was looking for, but I decided, hey, I might take one just to dinner. And right when I was about to pursue them, they started giving me that tail wag and decided not to take a shot. So next clip here, and this is my dad's big Omako jack that I was talking about earlier. You can see he made the dive, and right as he was going down at around 30 feet, he could see this two big Omakos swimming right up to him. He put a really nice shot into the biggest one, and the fight was on. And after a couple of minutes fighting the fish, he got this fish up to the surface and put his hands into his gills, securing this really healthy Omako jack that, if I'm not mistaken, it went up to 30 to 35 pounds. So we decided to make a move here to a different area where the water was a little bit dirtier but colder, which made the fish hang around at around 30 feet and not so deep. This area was known for cuberas and almaco jacks, and we didn't find any almaco jacks here, but see what happens in this dive. So this small school of cubera came into my dad and put a really nice shot into the biggest one of the school actually. And the fish didn't give him the broadside shot, but he took whatever he could get and went for the unicorn shot. Luckily he didn't miss and the fish didn't bend the shaft, so he secured his first cubera of the trip if I'm not mistaken. At the surface, I talked to my dad to tell me where those fish were, because I was not seeing anything in this spot either. So he told me about the little school of cubera. So I decided to make my drop from the shallower part of the pinnacle towards that 20 to 23 meter zone, just to see if those cuberas were hanging a little bit deeper. And behind this rock, I could see a lot of movement of bait and what I thought it was a school of blue jacks. So I creeped my head behind this rock just to see a huge school of cuberas. I thought they were spawning, so I wanted to get a stone shot just for the sake of the video. This guy came in, didn't like the shot that he gave me, so waited, and then this guy came in and I got myself a really good stone shot. So yeah, I decided to go to the surface and choke on this cubera and in the dive, because it was a really cool dive. Got this fish to the surface and it was the last fish of the day. Day 2 was over, so we decided to head home and enjoy the sunset ride. Morning, day 3 here, or 2. We are about to suit up here and head out to the other side to the opposite side that we went yesterday. Yeah. Hopefully today we'll get the white sea bass and the maybe one Goliath grouper. Yesterday my dad saw probably a 200-pounder Goliath, but he didn't shoot it. So yeah, hopefully today we'll see a smaller one so we don't bend our shafts. But yeah, here we are, about to suit up. Let's go. The minute I'm done loading my spear gun, I look down and this cubera was just swimming in the midwater column. I decided not to pursue it too much and call my dad over because he was just getting ready to dive, and you'll see what happened next. As he's diving down, he sees all this bait in the midwater column, such as grunts, surgeonfish, probably a few sardines, and he's looking right now for a cave, because usually this type of fish live in caves, especially in these big rocks and this rocky bottom. So he sees all these bait on top of this big rock, and as he approaches all the commotion, he noticed right here a big crack in the middle of these two big rocks where all this blue jacks were, and then this cubera just swim right up to him and put a really good shot in the fish and heads to the surface, securing the first cubera of the day, and a really healthy one actually. So we made a move and decided to go to a different spot, a shallower one, since we weren't seeing much in that previous spot where my dad shot the cubera. And right here I'm in the bottom just grunting. Since all this bait was around, I thought to myself that maybe a big almaco jack could show up. And to be honest, we weren't seeing a lot of fish this day. It was a pretty slow day, so we decided to make a move and found a pretty darn good spot where we pulled out a few cuberas. So he made the first dive in this new spot, and he finds out that there was a decent school of medium-sized cubera. So we decided to pluck a few of these guys and continue moving on. We weren't seeing much these days, so we pluck a few of these guys. So after he made the dive and secured a cubera, I decided to make one for myself. So I went to the bottom, made a few grunts, and then this pair of small cubera came to check me out. I decided not to pursue them, waiting for the big one, but the big one never came, so unfortunately I went to the surface empty-handed and couldn't get myself a cubera. So we continue moving and making dives to see if we could find fish, because this day was being pretty slow with two cuberas in the boat and a few like jello jacks or something. We weren't happy and we weren't seeing much fish, so we had to continue moving, making dives to see if we find a spot with fish. My dad made another dive in this spot, but he was diving in the deeper side of the rock. I was diving in the shallower side of the rock, and he put a really nice stone shot in this fish. Goes to the surface, told me to dive again, that all the cuberas were right there, and I made another dive to see the same exact thing as the previous one. Small fish and not much movement, just bait, and that was it. So I believe I made one more dive and we decided to move on and continue hitting different spots. So we moved to a different spot. Here I skipped a few clips between the previous spot and this one, just to make the video a little bit shorter and funnier for you guys. And as he was going down, he sees all these fish in the sand, again in the deeper side of the new rock that we were diving. He pursues this cubera, and then when he looks to his left, all the school of Colorado snapper comes in, and he puts a decent shot in this fish. Unfortunately, the fish rocks up, and we had to make a couple of retrieval dives to get him, but we did get him at the end, and we secure another snapper for the day. We decided to get a break of the deeper spots that we were hitting and go into the shallows just to see if any fish was in the shallower areas. And I was a little bit frustrated because everyone was putting fish in the boat and seeing fish, and I wasn't seeing anything at all. So I wasn't gonna be greedy on this one, and this school of blue jacks came in. So I waited for the bigger one to show up, and I put a high shot on the fish, and to top it all off, my reel got locked up and I had to use my belt reel as a backup, and unfortunately right here the fish tore off and I lost the fish. So my dad makes a dive in a different spot. It was a shallower one. It was a pinnacle that comes up from like 22 meters up to like 5 meters. So he dives on the shallower part of the reef and sees all the bait spooked, and this big Almaco came in. He put a really good shot, barely missing the stone shot on the fish, and the fish took my dad for a ride. I remember seeing my dad just water skiing in the surface. After a couple of minutes, he finally got his hand into this fish and secured a healthy Almaco jack, the first one of the day. So after making a couple of dives in the shallower part of the rock, I decided just to go down to the deep side of the pinnacle just to see if I could see any big Almaco, Cubera, Colorado Snapper, Corvina, or Goliath Grouper, or Brunchel, whatever. At this point I was just fishing for whatever, and out of nowhere, when I turn my head to the right about here, I see this white sea bass or Corvina just cruising around, put a really bad shot into a fish, and I decided to baby this fish because I really wanted this fish. I decided to go to the surface, letting the fish take line, whatever he needs, and just babying it. When I got to the surface, I started pulling my line in and secure a really nice Corvina for the day. First fish of the day for me, so pretty stoked on this one. Started baiting with fish, and finally he gives me a chance to pull it all the way to the surface. You could see the shot was barely holding, a little bit too high for my liking, and put the hands on its gills and secure this really healthy fish. First one of the day. So the second day was coming to an end, and I decided to do the same thing, just go all the way to the bottom in the deeper side of the rock, and made a few grunts just to see if I could attract any amberjack or Goliath grouper, Corvina, Cubera, whatever. At this point I was just like, you know what, let's see whatever shows up, and if it's edible, I'm gonna take it. So right here, just hanging out, doing some gruntings, and right here this Brunchel grouper comes out of nowhere and stares at me a little bit too much, so I put a really sick stone shot into the fish and went to the surface to secure my second fish of the day. Both are excellent eating quality, and couldn't be more stoked on these two fish. Well, we're about to end the day. I finally got lucky and got a nice Corvina or white sea bass and a little broomtail grouper. Not the biggest, but I'll take it all day. These are the two nice fish that I got for today. Pretty slow day today, but
we made it until the afternoon. So yeah, stoked on this.
Decided to make a move to a Corvina spot. Usually they're hanging around the sunset, so we made a couple of dives. You could hear it all, the Corvina all over the place, but water was too murky to see them. And yeah, so made a few dives and wasn't seeing anything, so we hop in the boat, crack open a few beers, and we slept like babies after a couple of days of diving and preparing ourselves for our last day of diving.
Good morning. This is the last day of fishing. Tomorrow we'll go back to the car. Pretty slow day yesterday. Not a lot of fish. I shot a white sea bass, a boomtail. My dad shot a cubera and an almaco jack. But today we're going to a other side that we went the first day, where we got the big almacos, shot the wahoos, and a few cuberas. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some more fish and take some back home, hopefully. So yeah, see you on the water.
First dive of the day for me. Again, last day here, and this small cubera shows up. I decided to take him just to get the skunk out of the boat. He gave me a pretty easy shot here, waiting for him to get in the clear zone and pull my trigger. Again, not a big one, just to get the skunk out of the boat. He happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, so I took him, and here in the next dive, my dad made a pretty similar dive. Again, lots of smaller cubera here, and it took this shot, let in a really similar sized one, and we're getting our first fish of the last day for both of us. So right here, Iñaki shot a bigger cubera in the same spot. I believe it was the biggest one of the school, and my dad happened to be in the bottom, so he helped him to get the fish out of the rocks, and Iñaki landed a really healthy cubera for the day.
Este es un parguito que acabo de tirar y que he logrado sacar en tándem con mi hermano Marco, porque él me lo ha desencuevado. Él venía detrás mío y como ha visto que mi pargo se había metido en una grieta,
Sí.
como buen hermano, me la ha desencuevado y aquí le dedico este pargo.
Y en la primera bajada y sin complicación, sí, porque
Exacto.
vi que el hilo tuyo pasó por una cosa y
Por algo así me pareció.
saqué el pargo, después saqué el hilo y salió.
Eres muy grande, hermano.
Si
Eres
no
muy
íbamos a
grande
pelar
y
bola todo, pero
te quiero mucho.
So we changed spots here and we weren't seeing anything, so I decided to make a deeper dive in the deepest side of the rock, and all the fish were in the colder, deeper side of the pinnacle. This almaco came in. I was about to pull the trigger on a nice mullet snapper, and this guy showed up and I took him home. Put a nice shot into the fish, made up for a really hard fight, and landed him. We weren't seeing a lot of fish after I got that almaco jack, so I decided to try and land in the same spot where I got that fish. I was looking for those mullet snapper, and even though I didn't land in the same spot, as I turn my head to the right, I see the same school of mullet snapper coming in. I aimed up and pulled the trigger. This fish tried to rock me up, so I had to put the brakes and swim to the surface as fast and hard as I could, just to prevent the fish from rocking up. And after a couple of minutes fighting it, he gave up, and I put my hands into the gills and landed a nice snapper. On the other side, my dad was playing hide and seek with this cubera. It was a really nice one, and after a couple of dives, seeing him and not getting a shot, he put a really good shot into the fish, carrying it really bad. He didn't put a lot of fight, and he landed a decent sized cubera. So this clip is pretty funny since I wanted to stone this Cubera just for the sake of the video, and you'll see what happened next. As he darted, I tried to move my gun around and get a shot, and darted again. So I head to the surface and didn't get my fish. It happens sometimes. On the other hand, my dad made a dive and all these Cuberas came to check me out. So he got a little poppy fever here, and they were pretty similar size. Again, we weren't seeing monsters here. So he took the closest one to him, put a decent shot into the fish, and landed yet another Cubera for himself. After he landed that fish, he told me to make a dive, and I made sure to grab my bigger gun since it has a lot of more punch than the smaller roller gun that I was using in the deck before. And when I landed, I wasn't seeing a lot of fish, but there happens to be a bigger school of bigger Cubera just swirling around in the middle of the sand, and the biggest one of the school came a little bit too close. Well, not really, but he gave me a decent shot, and I placed a shot right behind the gill plate. I usually don't take that long of a shot, especially when we're talking about bigger Cuberas, but this gun has a lot of more punch than the ones that I'm used to, and I landed a really healthy Cubera for myself.
So we are at the end of the last day of fishing, and I got this 30-pound-ish Cubera snapper down at 22.6 meters. That's like 71, 72-ish, more or less. So yeah, got a nice Almaco earlier today, and a smaller Cubera. But yeah, pretty stoked on this one. And now we're going to go to a Corvina place. So yeah, hopefully we're going to kill some Corvinas, and that's a wrap basically. So yeah.
Last spot of the day and last dive of the trip. We weren't seeing a lot of fish, so I decided to, you know what, let's go to the deepest side of the rock. And all of a sudden, all these bait came to check me out. I start banging my gun against the rocks, grunting, scratching, just to see if I could attract a school of Corvina, since we were hearing him. And unfortunately, no Corvina showed up, and the trip was over. So I decided to head to the surface, take my wetsuit off, crack a few beers open, and enjoy the sunset cruise to the house.